time to draft the people under the most pressure this weekend. Week 16 is upon us. I've got the trivia question. If Big Cat gets it right, he gets the first pick. If he gets it wrong, I'll take the first pick. Here's the question, Big Cat. Jameis Winston has a chance to lead the NFL in both touchdown passes and interceptions this season. Only 3 players have done that since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. You need to name one, and here's your hint, which I have revised to make it even more fair to you. One of them starts for a current NFC playoff team.
Oh, a current NFC playoff team. So would that be Drew Brees? Other ones? Eli? Did Eli ever do it?
Eli did not do it.
Dang.
The other ones you'll never get. You'll never get. Brett Favre would have been my first guess.
Yeah.
Brian Sipe in 1979 and Lynn Dickey in 1983. Those are the others.
Okay.
But Drew Brees did it in 2012. All right, you get the first pick.
All right, my first pick, I'm going to go with the under pressure, the mental toughness of the San Francisco 49ers.
Here we go.
Again, because I called it last week. I told you last week we were sitting here in this exact seat 1 week ago at this exact time. This is the 1 week anniversary of me telling Mike how stupid he is. The 49ers' mental toughness was on the hot seat last week because they had that letdown spot. The Falcons came in and they won. Well, guess what? It's back on my hot seat this week. They have a short week. They have a team they know. They have to win out to get that 1 seed. Their mental toughness, how they bounce back, is going to be under pressure here. And they should win this game by a couple scores if they are up for the challenge, because I think they're that much better than the Rams. So will they be able to? And this is a big test, Mike, because you mentioned it. If they stumble here and then next week they have to go up to Seattle in week 17, you could be talking about a team that looked like the number 1 seed finishing the season on a 1-4 stumble in the last 5 games. So their mental toughness is under pressure, and I have them winning this game, but it will be interesting to see how they respond.
It's amazing that your desire to troll me on that point would supersede your effort to have the best possible slate of picks, because you know I'm never going to pick the 49ers' mental toughness. You could have taken that in the 10th round of a 10-round pressure draft. We could go 20 rounds, and you would have had it in round 20 if you wanted it.
You don't have my other 2 picks either, so I'm good.
All right, this is one of those days where Big Cat comes to the table with all sorts of screwy, non-conventional, but highly entertaining and somewhat insightful picks. I'm starting with Shaun Watson, the first game out of the gates tomorrow, because everybody's talking about Jameis Winston. We're fascinated by Jameis Winston, what the Buccaneers can do. And will they bring back Jameis Winston? How much are they going to pay him? Here are the Texans. They should win this game, coming off of a game that they did win that many thought they would lose, coming off of a game that somehow they were embarrassed at home against the Broncos. Deshaun Watson has to prove to us that he can will this team to win in a spot where they're supposed to win. There have been too many letdowns this year from the Texans. They have made a division that they should have run away with, far closer than it should have been. And look, I know he doesn't have a lot of help around him, but when you're the guy who's the focal point of the team, when you're one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's one of the 3 AFC Pro Bowlers, and he deserves it, he's that good, it's on his shoulders to make sure that this team doesn't stumble again, because somebody in that organization is failing to get it done. And I think this is where Watson needs to lift that team himself and will it to victory in a game they need to have if they want to avoid a Week 17 elimination. Well, they could miss the playoffs altogether, but you don't want Week 17 to be for the division. You want to nail it down, and they can do it tomorrow with a win over the Buccaneers. It's on Deshaun Watson to deliver it.
I like that pick. The Texans, they make no sense. Statement win, statement loss, statement win. Makes you think that maybe they'll have another statement loss, but Deshaun Watson can stop that from happening. Okay, my next pick, Mike, I'm going to go with the Patriots wide receivers. You like that pick? Is that a little more traditional for you? The Buffalo Bills are, I would say it probably goes Patriots, 49ers, and then Bills for teams that are excel at coverage. So it's going to be a tough task for a unit that has not been able to get separation for Tom Brady. We've seen the frustrated Tom Brady in the press conferences on the sidelines. The Patriots' offensive line is also a mess. So, yeah, they might be under pressure, but it can be fixed if the wide receivers for the Patriots can find a way to make plays, get separation, make Tom Brady's job easier on Saturday. So I'm going to say they are under pressure, the most pressure, because how they play will dictate who wins this game in my mind.
And what you need to do, this is what the Chiefs did a couple of weeks ago, because of the fact that Tom Brady made it clear in the loss to the Texans that he was frustrated with those young receivers, double Julian Edelman, double James White, force Tom Brady to throw it to the guys he doesn't fully trust yet, and that's the way that you can potentially shut down the Patriots' offense, by shutting down the passing game. All right, well, you've already done a 49ers pick, so I'm going to skip that one. I'll go Freddie Kitchens. Look, this is the home finale for the Cleveland Browns. They've already beaten the Ravens once, and this is more don't get blown out, right? I don't think the Browns should go into this game expecting to win. If they win, hey, that's great, and maybe Freddie Kitchens nails down a second year. But if they get embarrassed, right, the weird report last week from NFL media that management's inclined to bring Freddie Kitchens back, but a horrific collapse to the end of the season could cause them to change their mind. Look, they lost to a Cardinals team that had lost 6 in a row. There was the report of the players saying to the Cardinals after the game, come get me. Kareem Hunt comes out and says, we got guys who don't kick it in until the second half. That's an indictment of the head coach. He's the one who needs to have these guys ready to play from the moment the game starts. If they get blown out by the team that used to be the Cleveland Browns, I think that's it for Freddie Kitchens. It may already be it anyway, but if he has any hope of sticking around, he's got to deliver on Sunday against the Ravens. Not necessarily with a win, but a one-score game. That could be the thing that gives him at least a chance to get a second year in Cleveland.
It's crazy that we're even having this discussion when what you just said is true, that there are multiple players on the Browns that are going over to the other sideline and saying, please come get me. I mean, how are we even having this discussion that Freddie Kitchens is going to remain the coach? All right, good pick. How about let me go with the Hot Seat Bowl. The Hot Seat Bowl in Atlanta. Somehow, some way, Mike, Dan Quinn has sort of kept his job alive. Matt Ryan has come out and spoken in his favor. The locker room has responded. They've beaten the Saints. They've beaten the 49ers, which was a huge letdown game for the 49ers last week that most people with a brain saw coming. This is a game. Doug Marrone is also on the hot seat. Whoever wins this game, I think, will be able to keep their job, and the loser of this game is going to be a little bit deeper water, so to speak. So I can't believe we're talking about Dan Quinn possibly having his job next year, but it feels like if they win this game and they win, week 17, I think they're playing the Bucks, he might keep his job. It's crazy. It's crazy, Mike. He might keep his job.
There's a weird sense that I've gotten this year that Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, doesn't like the idea that fans and media are telling him what to do, right? There was a groundswell that Quinn should have been fired during the bye week, and Blank was determined not to do it. And I just feel like he's exercising the billionaire's privilege to do whatever the hell I want to do. And the fact that you people want me to do something else means I'm not going to do it. And look, there's a strategic reason to keep Quinn around. They're going to have cap trouble next year. It's not like a new coach can come in and make a bunch of changes. The new coach would be stuck with a lot of the players that Dan Quinn wants to have there anyway. And it could be that you have a hard time finding a coach that will choose to come to Atlanta knowing the cap problems they're going to have next year, and that if you may not believe in Matt Ryan, well, too bad. You're going to have to coach him for at least a year. So I think that helps Quinn. Beating the 49ers in Santa Clara helped. Beating the Saints in New Orleans helped. And if they can finish strong this year, there is a chance Quinn comes back. I think Marrone's safe either way, though. My last pick is Anthony Lynn, the Chargers head coach. They were embarrassed last week at home, 7 turnovers. At a certain point, it speaks to the amount of discipline and accountability that the players have. You can't put the ball on the ground or through the air into the other players' hands that often and not have it reflect on coaching. And every year, there's a coach who gets fired that when it happens, it's a surprise. And, of course, if we start talking about it, then it's not a surprise. But I was told over the weekend the guy to watch this year potentially is Lynn. And it's I don't think it should. I would be opposed to it. They were 12-4 last year, but with the Chargers having all these issues and getting a fan base in LA, and they're constantly dealing with the rumors of possibly moving, I just feel like that frustration, everything they're dealing with, all the crap that is constantly falling on that franchise, what can you really do to spark your team into the next year? You're not going to sell it. Yeah, I guess they could fire their GM. Or they gave Tom Telesco an extension earlier this year. Anthony Lynn is one way to stave it off is to not embarrass yourself and your team against the Raiders. And you know that Raiders fans are going to take over that stadium and what will be the last game the Chargers ever play there. They lose that game, and it may be that that's the name that comes out of the blue on next Sunday or Monday that people are surprised by, and maybe they shouldn't be.
And what do we say every single year about the Chargers? It seems like for the last 5, 6, 7 years, they either make the playoffs and we say, watch out for the Chargers. They have a talented roster, or they miss the playoffs. And we say, how did that team miss the playoffs? They have so much talent on their roster. They lose a bunch of really close games, and it seems to happen every single year. So they were in that off year in that cycle where they don't make the playoffs, but they have a playoff caliber roster, and they lost a few very close games that kept them out of the dance.
Hey, they should have won last week. They were up 12-10 in the, or no, it was 10-9. Wait a minute. Vikings were up 12-10. That's what it was. And the Chargers had the ball. They had gotten an interception of Kirk Cousins on a screen pass. Chargers could have taken the lead going into the half. They have that weird play with the reverse holy roller, and the next thing you know, the Vikings are taking the ball 80 yards the other way for a touchdown, and it just opened the floodgates. They could have and should have won that game. And how many games this year for the Chargers can we say they could have and should have won? I think every game they lost, we can say they could have and should have won.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like and then they go and the Packers are still alive for the 1 seed. And remember how they just absolutely pasted them? So
26-11.
Yeah, it's an up and down season for the Chargers again, and it feels like that always happens. And what happens when you underperform to the caliber of your roster? It's usually the coach's job.
And also, they have to get a fan base in L.A., and that may be the thing that forces change as well. We got to take a break.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.